Hello, everyone. This is Irene with SaugaTalks today. Hope everyone's doing well, because at SaugaTalks, I speak weekly with fascinating people in tech. And weekly, I mean weekly. And every day at SaugaTalks, we post on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. So follow us and subscribe, because I don't want you to miss the fascinating tips of wonderful people we're speaking with. And today, the esteemed guest is Robert Hutter. Robert, how are you?
Hello, very good. Thanks for the invitation. Happy to be here.
Absolutely wonderful. No, pleasures are mine, because we said we're going to talk about igniting people and business potential for digital future. This is a lot to cover, but I know you are CEO and founder of FireStart. And I
Yes.
know in your daily role, you think about how clients can benefit from automation trends and from technology trends. So why don't we start with very open-ended question? Where do you see the automation area is moving nowadays? Because again, this field is quite mature, but in 2021, we want to hear what's new.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, as you said, I founded FireStart back about a decade, and we've been heavily involved in any kind of automation initiatives that we see at our clients. And yeah, I mean, it's the big topic nowadays that automation can be the next big step forward in terms of creating business results, creating performance at the day. I think what's always like very overlooked is like that you need to bring automation into a strategy, yeah, because otherwise you always look for the just low-hanging fruits, but you don't think of a bigger automation strategy. This is like if you build a spinning wheel and you don't care about how they spin with each other, but they're spinning independently. So it's about, if you want to bring automation to a big leverage effect for your organization, you need to think of a longer term strategy and not only on short term results. So this is like very often what we see, like people are too short termed in mindset in how to approach automation the right, that they don't oversee the longer term benefits of building a strategy. Another thing is, like, since we also want to talk about human potential, they are a big part in the whole success play, so to say. But we see, like, whereas automation grows bigger and bigger as a technology topic, the human potential gets more and more diminished to like as if it would not count. And I would definitely see it the complete opposite, that at the end of the day, it's about bringing a leverage to human potential with technology as a foundation. Yeah. But technology should serve like the performance of an individual, so that I, as a person, with my skills, with my attitude, with my engagement, can just be performing better, and not just performing for myself, but performing as a team, performing along a process. Yeah, so it's all about the alignment, bringing individual strengths together. That can be human people, that can be applications, that can be software robots, that can be artificial intelligence. So every stakeholder in a process has certain strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. So when you look at people are not really good at scaling. Yeah. So if you say, Robert, please tomorrow work 10 times faster than you used to work, it would be very hard for me to scale to that level of expectation that you might have as an expectation. If you talk about an automated workflow, if you talk about an automated software robot, they can scale. Yeah. But they might be a lot weaker in making creative decisions or seeing a bigger picture in terms of where to head with a certain outcome. So it's not important for a human to scale like a software application, but to make a value-added decision along the process and bring in creativity, bring in engagement, also bring in culture. Yeah, like looking at the COVID crisis, what it all has done to culture, to broken processes, to home office. It's been a bigger cultural change as well. And I think like the where most of the people are struggling in like keeping the culture in shape with a new way in how to approach automation and business process design in general. But without the culture, it's literally nothing you can build upon. No automation in the world will help your business if you don't have a proper cultural people foundation in engaging in the business and creating the results that you want to create at the end of the day.
You mentioned few key points here. Let me pick up on those, right? First of all, automation is not your standalone project in silo. So I heard that it should be part of your strategy, end to end, we're saying sometimes, right? End to end business processes and overall operations in company. So that's what I've heard. But also automation cannot stand in an island without people it's affecting, without people who would carry that mission in the organization. So with that, yeah, if you could step in a little bit into what does it mean for different companies, if you have good examples, because we talk a lot about use cases and they are shiny, they're great. I mean, CFOs love them because they save costs, okay? But we do want to hear holistically, you know, where do you see like successful implementations which are both beneficial for the business, for revenue growth, for cost cutting, but also for people who took initiative and who feel the part of that change?
Yeah, sure. So as you said, like when you talk about making processes efficient, it's not about cost cutting, but it's about value creation. Yeah. So a process always creates a result, and the result should always create value. Yeah. And any stakeholder in the process should add up to the value that you're creating. That can be a service that you're delivering, that can be a product that you're delivering, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, without a business process, there's nothing to do business. So every organization in the world is a set of business processes, and the better you do them, the more successful you will be in business, the more competitive you will be against other peers in the market that try to do the same business or deliver the same service. Yeah, so it's one part is like how competitive you are and what value are you creating along the processes. And what you mentioned is like the end-to-end approach is kind of what counts, because imagine a 900-step process. And then the first 899 steps you've done perfectly, most efficient, but at the last step you fail. Guess what? If the last step is like the actual delivery to the customer, then the customer will not care about if you did all of the 899 steps before perfectly and you're Amazon, but the package never got shipped to my floor. So, you know, like as a customer, you expect a certain service delivery and a certain service quality, and the demand from the customer space is getting higher and higher and faster. So it's really about having your processes under control so that you can be at the speed that your clients are expecting you to be. Whether that's how fast you can change processes, like how fast I get my service that I requested, how long do I have to wait for the bug fix I've meant. This is all like a major topic in order to keep customers happy and win new customers in the market. And the one that do it better will stay in business. The one that will not do it good will go out of business at some point. Yeah, but it's really this end-to-end thinking that is, I think, what is really hard for many organizations to get into. Why? Because many organizations used to stay very siloed in department-driven divide and conquer kind of approach. Yeah, I will not interfere in your area, you will not interfere in my area. So everybody was just like focusing the finance department that finances are fine, and product department the product is fine. But at the end of the day, nobody looked at the end-to-end process on the value creation, and there it gets clumsy, their processes break, and therefore the customer satisfaction will suffer. And if there's like one key thing that you must keep in the future, it's about keeping the customer satisfaction high. Yeah, getting the time to market, the speed of delivery, the speed of execution, plus the value of decision making is kind of the magic combination that you should look for, regardless of what product or service you're delivering to the market. And therefore, the decision making on the user level is as important as the service automation delivery on the technology side. And I think that two parts in combination should be how you look at the end-to-end business process scenarios that you have in front of you. Yeah? And And don't try to replace all of your human potential by bringing in automation with magic artificial intelligence. It will play a role, but try to keep the human potential and the human intelligence as a core driver in the business process, because they will, at the end of the day, make your process successful or make your process fail, in my opinion. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know what? We spoke lately with Danilo Magari, and we touched on few important subjects here of how line will be blurring. You mentioned interdepartmental kind of silos, right? But point is that the line between functions will be blurring, and business people will have access to low-code technology, if not already, where they can express their creativity and add value to the business instead of worrying about their jobs being affected by automation. So where technology is helping people really to learn in the job and to add value to the business.
It's going to be learning by doing, and it's also a generation topic. Like the newer generation is much more skilled by nature with technology, whereas like the older generation was just like had a completely different approach in how to gather knowledge, how to apply knowledge into a process. It's just a completely different way in how to tackle business problems. And like the newer generation, they don't like to wait. Nobody likes to wait at anybody. They also they don't like to be told by anybody. It's like they just want to own the process. They want to own the business. They want to own the decisions. They want to own the creation. They don't want to just run what somebody else designed. And that's like a fundamental cultural, again, change. It has a lot more to do with culture than many people think it has to do. But it's really about how you culturally embrace transparency. I recently had a call with a CFO of one of our clients, and he said like, FireStart, it creates so much transparency, I hate it. But this is like, that's the value we create. But in his opinion, it was like a downside that they created transparency. And this is, if people don't carry the benefits of automation and process automation, workflow automation, and the value with it in the culture, then you always have a conflict. And then technology will not be able to solve your fundamental cultural flaws that you might have built over years and years and years. And it's really about a little independence that you want to have as an individual, as an organization. You want to just move with the flow. Whatever happens, if it's, I don't know, the stock exploding or COVID hitting the world or whatever it is, you just want to be agile to adapt to whatever comes. And I think that's going to be the organizations of the future that are not afraid of the future, but they take things as they come, and they know that they are as flexible to adapt in a meaningful way to this new environment and still stay successful in business.
Absolutely. You know what, we talk about getting rid of mundane work and equipping humans with doing more creative tasks and creative projects even, right? So where do you see like there's the best potential there? Because again, many still afraid of, automating everything, basically.
There's so much creative human potential in all of the processes, whether that's when you want to launch new products, when you need to have creative marketing campaigns in place, when you need to innovate or R&D research, human resource management. There are so many areas where you just are helpless without the human creativity and engagement. And like it's about creativity. It's about, you don't want to run a process, but you want to design a process, and that's a very different thing. If you don't want to do repetitive things, because that will just draw your brain. You want to be challenged. You want to be motivated. And there's so much potential. If I look at our business, I think we have like 80 to 90 business processes that we need to run on a day-to-day basis, and we need to change half of them on a weekly basis to new requirements, to new also innovations. It's like process development is a moving target. And I think that's also a misconception that many organizations when they think we're going into an automation project or we're going into a digital transformation, that this is a one-off project. Yeah, it starts here, it ends here, and then we're done with it. But they forget that this is a continuous process that they're entering. Yeah, this is like Windows 10. Yeah, there will be no Windows 11. Yeah, it will be just a better and better and better Windows 10 that Microsoft is delivering. And the same with digital transformation or automation. It's an ongoing topic where you will get better in smaller steps, but more consistently. And where the goal is like to keep the governance around this development. The goal is not to end the project at some point, but to keep the governance and to keep into the movage of this whole process. And this is like, from the whole approach, very often the wrong approach. The people think it will end in a year, and it will not end. It's a continuous process.
Absolutely. So, Robert, I cannot not ask you about AI in processes, because again, many now assume that AI technology algorithm will be built in those process steps, but still many organizations really rely on legacy processes and legacy process workflow software. So point is, at what point do you recommend your client to start looking for new capabilities, new tools, which is AI, and where do you see the most successes?
It's at the end of the day not a hard cut. Yeah. So you don't switch from an old legacy process to the new AI-driven cloud process in one day. So like what we see at most, the common scenarios like these hybrid scenarios where you have a clear BPM strategy in place that leads the process. And then you can easily exchange on a step-by-step level, say, okay, at that step, this is what Irene was doing, and now we bring in AI to do it or support it. You know, when you always have like the process first picture in place, it's a lot easier to make smaller adjustments and bring in new technologies in a smaller pace that is easier for people and the organization to digest. Yeah. What is always hard to digest is like to make a hard cut from one very bad structure and process to a super completely sophisticated process overnight, because then people will just not be able to follow. They will not be able to adopt in their own speed and pace towards these new, better capabilities that you can bring in place. So we really see benefits mostly like small steps with the end-to-end business process in place. And then people are able to follow. And then you can pick your speed, depending what your organization can digest and how fast you're involved in this process. But every organization has a different speed. What needs to change within a year at one organization could maybe be changed in one day at another organization. So it very much depends on where you come from, what your industry looks like. But you have to be able to set the pace according to the process. And in smaller but incremental steps is the better way to go than like the one-off big bang topics. Because like what I always try to use as an analogy is like if you look at the music business, yeah. So it's about the performance that you deliver as a band, not necessarily about what you deliver as an individual. And every individual has its instrument, has its technology, so to say, to leverage. But it's the individual that deliver the performance, and it's the orchestra that makes the whole experience great at the end of the day. Yeah? And this is very much the more you can build upon the performance of individuals, the more you will have a engagement effect that you will deliver to your clients. And you don't want to be a one-hit wonder by chance, but you want to build upon your success for the future. And then if you had one great album, then you can build upon that success for the next album. And this is like the difference between a one-off automation short-term strategy versus building a long-term automation strategy for building lasting success for your business.
I love this analogy, Robert. I love it because, yeah, orchestration, we use this word a lot around business practices. It became almost a cliche, right?
Yeah.
But when you're thinking really about the orchestra behind the orchestration, meaning that exactly everyone has their contribution, which is critical And good conductor knows, right, which musician is not delivering.
And you can design a good process. Yeah, somebody can design a play and then bring in all of these capabilities. But that's an important part of this whole. You don't just meet and greet and then say, let's play and do something weird and hopefully it will turn out to be a hit. But it's actually, you can design success by also designing a good music play and then bring in the right people and the right technology to do it. And I'm a drummer myself. Yeah, so I used to play just physical drums, and sometime I switched to an electronic drum set. And I'm playing, and still it's not that I say this is the drum computer playing now, but I'm playing as an individual. But all of the digital enhancement of the drum set just also made me better as a human being playing the drums. It just improved my timing. I could turn the volume. I could play remote with people all over the world. So the technology gave me new capabilities, but it was still building upon my skill set, on my engagement as an individual. And I think this is how you should always go for technology. For itself is not the end goal, but technology supporting human beings to become better and better in what they do is the way to go, where both sides benefit.
Fantastic analogy. It will stay with me. I hope it will stay with our audience, because it simplifies, at the same time just clarifies, right, the complexity of modern enterprise. But at the same time, this analogy is, memorable.
There's one fun comment to that too. Like, if you look at the term BPM, business process management, it also has a term in the music world, which is beats per minute. Yeah. so and like setting the beats right is kind of building the fundamental beat of your organization. And that's what both sides have in common, like setting the right beat and the rhythm on the process level will also build upon everybody else you will bring into the process. And that's also a good analogy that you can remember.
Absolutely. Thank you, Robert, for those. Yep, good. So let's look into the future, because we said we're going to discuss the digital future and the potential, right, business and people, right, can take advantage of. So digital future in terms of, let's think about 5 years. I know it's not easy because things changing as we speak, right? But technology mostly, right? What is it that you're seeing that will be really delivering breakthrough innovation?
So one big thing that I would see for the next coming years is like moving automation from a single tendon approach to a multi-organization, multi-tendon approach. Because like you always like repeat yourself in the way you build processes and applications. Yeah. But if you look on a like a cross-organization and business model, everybody repeats itself. So there's no really kind of an infrastructure to share automations, to share reuse data structures without duplicating data. So my guess for the future is that also with what we do at FireStart is really building a business process ecosystem where it's just super easy for an organization to engage and collaborate on an automation level with other organizations and be kind of a plug and play mode to hook myself into a broader business process ecosystem with my skills, with my value add on the processes. That kind of needs a lot of thinking, of course, in technology and reusability and governance. So it's a very challenging topic, I would see. But at the end of the day, if we can bring the topic to make a process cross-organization as seamless as you're today building a process cross-department, then I think that can be a big game changer in the way how business process partners or ecosystems work together in the future. So the first step is like breaking down the department barriers. And this is what we're working right now in the way how we apply our technology. But I think the next step is like breaking down the organizational barriers. And if we're successful with this, that can be a super new modern world of working where everybody really thinks in a process first and only way, and not in department and not in organizational constraints. And I think that's the mission that I'm looking for the future, to work on and deliver our technology to make this future reality at some point. Yeah.
In that future, I hear we will see convergence of technologies. So it's not going to be this siloed enterprise stack anymore. Convergence of technologies and even convergence of industries, right? Because where we stop looking at what fintech separate from health tech, for instance, right? And
industries will merge, use cases will merge, and it will merge on a process level. And once you think in a process world, you don't think about constraints and barriers anymore. And I think that's the biggest value business process automation can deliver for your organization, that people forget about thinking in constraints and process and barriers. And once you are over this point, it's really a completely new world that you're entering in how you organize your organization and how you do business. And it's a lot more fun for everybody involved.
And what I understand, we will need a lot more human help here. So besides cutting costs, right, and replacing people with robots, right, let's touch at the end of our talk with talent, okay? Because we will need a lot of people who putting those processes together. What do you think?
I think like from the nature and how new generations grow up today, I think for most of the part, the talent is already there. So it's more like giving them the enablement to use the talent. Yeah, I think back then it was more like you had to catch up building the talent, getting people into using applications, technology. So there was a very heavy learn curve that you had to put in place to create the talent you need. But I think like having the talent as a foundation in the future is not the core problem. It's about creating the environment that people can actually use their talent. Yeah. And with most of the last hires we made at FireStart, a lot of these people are a lot more talented and smarter than I ever was. And it's just about giving them the credibility and giving them the capability to use the talent. And that's not something for given. Yeah, it's less a technology thing. It's again a cultural thing, I would say, that building a leadership structure where you are a servant leader to enable the talent that you have on the employee side. Yeah, and it's more like a bottom-up leadership. So we are at the bottom of the food chain. so our job as a leader is to serve the people and the talent. It's not like top-down, tell people what to do, but enable that they can make decisions on their own talent in the best interest of themselves and for the organization. And once you can enable this talent in the way how you design your processes, in the way how you design your decision-making, talent is there. That will not be the problem. Enabling the talent is, I think, the core topic that you need to solve.
This is fantastic trend in leadership and management you just pointed, so hire people for what you can learn from them, right? Exactly. Not the other way around. I mean, this is absolute, way forward, because that industrial revolution, 100 years old processes and structures and hierarchy, okay, they're dead now in companies who we know thriving. So this is a very important message, Robert. Thank you for that. So at the end of our talk today, let's summarize, okay, a few takeaways that we want to leave our audience with. I'll give you the floor. So is it technology? Is it people? Is it digital future? All of it combined. Yes, few takeaways, please.
Yeah, for me, the management summary would be like having people and technology perform as one. Yeah, like equally important, equally a part of the future. Not people only that will not survive because it will just not be scalable enough, but not technology only because it will just eliminate everything a culture and the company stands for. So having a balanced approach between people and technology, I think, is a very important thing to keep in shape. Not let technology be overboarding your organization, and think about it also from the cultural perspective and not the technology perspective, because to really make an automation strategy fit and scale within your organization, it's more cultural or roadblocker that you need to remove than having the right technologies in place. And last but not least, think of not only low-hanging cost-cutting fruits, because this is, of course, always very temptive, especially if you're now post-COVID, that of course cost-cutting is still a big issue. but think of a longer term strategy and how to involve in getting new structures in place, new processes in place that will just better deliver the services, the products of the next future, with maybe a new culture, maybe with a new skill set that you can build along the way. And this is like the outline I would like to encourage everybody. Think of a mid-long-term strategy for your automation and not just short-term cost cutting and eliminating human potential.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for your time today. Fantastic talk. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure.